Welcome to Tennessee This Week. I'm Stephanie Beacon. Knox County parents last week got the chance to learn more about the school district's balanced calendar proposal. A series of community meetings offered parents a chance to talk with school administrators and board members in person. We wanted to know more about this balanced calendar idea. Joining me today to talk about what's on the table and the process of evaluating this idea, Knox County's Assistant Superintendent and Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Elizabeth Alves, and Karen Carson from the Knox County Board of Education. Thank you both so much for being here. First, just explain, what is the balanced calendar?
A balanced calendar is simply taking the instructional days that our teachers have with students and reallocating them, redistributing them through the calendar. It usually results in a little bit of a shorter summer, but we have more frequent breaks throughout the school year, and it provides more opportunities for continuous learning throughout the school year.
And Karen, we were talking there could be many possibilities and plans, but really we're looking at two options. Explain those options.
Right. What we're trying to look at is the traditional calendar that we have, and then the two options. One is to be on a 9-week, 2-week off rotation with a little bit longer summertime. The other would be a 9-week and then 3-week off. And during those intersession times, we'll do remediation and enrichment with students.
And why would you say, Dr. Alves, this is a positive thing for students?
So there's something called summer learning loss. If you think about students being out of school during the summer for 10 to 12 weeks of time, many of our students are not engaged in learning activities. And we find that particularly with students that are struggling in school, students who live in poverty, they actually lose academic gains that they may have acquired during the school year. So by having a shorter summer, by having the opportunities during the intersession periods to provide enrichment and intervention and instructional support for students, we believe that we will enhance student learning outcomes. There are also some positive benefits associated with attendance and discipline, students' attitudes towards school, and honestly the opportunity for teachers to engage in professional development during the intersession periods, and potentially have the opportunity to earn additional compensation during that time as well.
So do you have anything else to add to that, and what are the parents saying?
Well, and I would say this to parents. I'm saying right now that we're in the very beginning phases of this discussion. It's a discussion that comes up year after year, and we've never fully looked at it and then made a decision on it. So there are really 4 things I'm looking for right now. First, I want to know what the community thinks about it, what are their concerns, and then we can decide how we can address them, if we can address those concerns. Second, I want to know what teachers think about it. If teachers don't really support it, it will never work, at least in my opinion. Third, I want to know what the research says. Is it beneficial academically or not? There are a number of school systems that do it, and so we should be able to get some pretty firm data on that. And then fourth, I want to know the fiscal impact. Can we afford to do it? I think when we have the information that we're working on gathering over the next few weeks, that information, then we can make a pretty sound decision on what's best for kids.
And I know you're still, like you said, gathering the information, but what have you at this point been hearing from parents?
You know, I think for me, right now, I'm asking parents mostly, don't try to give me your opinion if I can't give you answers yet. Tell me what you want me to be able to answer. Tell me if you're concerned about swim team. Mostly we're concerned about a lot of activities. I would say high school parents and high school students have more concerns right now. They're really concerned about AP classes and a national testing date that is set irregardless of our calendar. So there are issues that we need to see how other systems deal with that. I do hear a number of parents who think it makes sense and they look forward to it, and I have other parents who have very legitimate concerns about work schedules and things like that.
And where are we at in information gathering? Are we close to getting those answers so you can tell the parents in a few weeks?
So I think we're really actually just really starting the process. We have a number of community meetings meetings that will be held at our schools across the district in the coming weeks and months, and we will probably conduct a survey at some point prior to the end of the school year, an opportunity for our students, for our teachers, our parents, and our community members to really give us their opinions and help give us the information that we need to be able to make a recommendation to the school board.
So we talked a little bit about what the parents are saying. Have you heard anything from the teachers? Do you feel like the majority are feeling one way or another?
It's interesting. This has not been an initiative that has come from the board or even from Dr. McIntyre. It's brought up every year from predominantly educators and principals leading it. Fulton and Austin East actually brought a proposal to the board a few years ago advocating for this. I think in my district, at a meeting that I was at the other night, at the elementary and middle and even intermediate level, pretty significant favor for that from teachers, in the 75 to 88%. High school teachers were more in the 50-50 thing right now because there are things they don't have answers to, like the AP testing and things like that.
Okay, switching gears here a little bit, I want to talk about the teacher surveys. There was a survey done in 2013, and it was kind of an eye-opener. It showed that some teachers reported low morale, but we've decided to move forward with another teacher survey. Why do this, and what are you learning from this?
Well, I think anytime you can put questions out there and get a significant majority of your teachers to give a response, you better learn something from it. And the purpose of those kind of surveys, I think, is to be able to know where people are and then have a plan of action and then go back and see how is it working. So I think at this point a survey that's very similar to the one we did would be good to give us a baseline measurement of has there been any improvement in how teachers feel about how they're treated professionally, their ability to give input and those kind of things. I also think, though, it's important going forward to just be much more methodical and work with some experts to get very concrete questions out there so that we can then have a plan of action and measure how well we're doing.
And how do you make sure that this is an accurate reflection and that all the teachers are participating so you're not getting kind of a skewed survey? At some point there's a responsibility both on employer and employee to say, if the employer is out there asking and saying, give me good feedback, and can provide that opportunity to give that feedback in a safe environment, if an employee chooses not to do that, there's nothing you can do to make it, But I think generally most people want an opportunity to say, this is what works, this is what doesn't work, and this is how it could be improved. And we just need to be able to do that and listen and then move forward. Dr. Alves, Karen Carson, thank you so much, both of you, for being here and taking the time out.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. And stay with us. We'll hear from our pundits panel straight ahead. You're watching Tennessee This Week from WATE 6 on your side.
You're watching Tennessee This Week from WATE 6 on your side.
Welcome back to Tennessee This Week. I'm Stephanie Beacon. It's time to hear from our panel of pundits. Joining me today, WATE 6 on your side healthcare analyst Craig Griffith, Courtney Piper of Piper Communications, and WATE 6 on your side political analyst George Corda. Well, I want to talk about the balanced calendar proposal. We visited a meeting at Farragut Middle School, and I want you to hear what some of the parents had to say.
I think it's a very interesting proposal. I know it's popular in a lot of places. However, I do have some concerns. One is that we don't have enough data, I feel like, to weigh the options about what has happened with other schools that have tried these options. And I'd very much like to hear from our teachers. We don't have enough data to really make a decision, so I have to draw back on what my children told me. My daughter says, I won't have time to spend time going to the pool as much in the summer, Daddy, when it's warm. My son, on the other hand, is a freshman, and he's concerned about working. We have old-fashioned values, and he's concerned about having a job this summer.
Okay, if approved, this proposal, the balanced calendar, would not go into place until the 2016-2017 school year. So First, start off, do you think this is a good idea? What are the pros and cons?
Well, I think it should be an idea that's seriously examined for a couple of reasons. From my city government point of view, the biggest capital investment that our local governments have are in their schools, in the school systems, the school buildings. We need to use them more year-round. We don't need to let them sit idle for a number of months or a number of weeks. And secondly, the old school calendar, I think, was developed in the 19th century when we were mainly a rural farming community. I think that the calendar needs to be changed to reflect the realities of modern parenting and family bringing up. And I understand that there's issues in terms of, events and special events and things like that. But other communities, such as Maryville, locally here, have adopted this a more year-round calendar, and I think it's working out well.
Courtney, do you support this, or do you kind of see people's concerns when they say, well, it disrupts summer jobs and vacations? What are your thoughts?
I see their concerns, but it seems like that the school system is going about this the right way. We heard Carson say that they want to look at the data. Is this going to cost us money? Does this show that it's going to improve academic performance? Are the teachers going to accept it? Is the community going to accept it? So those are definitely the 4 factors that you want to weigh. Now, as a child of someone whose parents worked full-time when I was in high school, and I was also on the swim team, a schedule like that, a balanced calendar or year-round school, would really mess with that schedule. When you've got your children home for 10 days in the middle of the fall, what are you going to do with them? And then also, if you think about summer sports or summer athletics or getting a summer job, if you only have 28 to 43 days for that job or that sport, what does that look like? What does that do?
Now, George, you heard Karen talking about, we've brought this up years past. Do you think we're actually going to see some action and actually move forward with this?
Well, it depends. The most important thing that they discussed, and that when I looked on the school board website, the points in favor was the 4th bullet point. This is what will move teachers, the opportunity for additional compensation. That's a key driver there that could make a difference in how this plays out. Plus, but then you got teachers who do things over the summer who wouldn't be able to do them anymore. When we lived in Germany, my wife and I, they had a schedule like this where the kids were in and out. They didn't have 3 months off. And they seemed to do fine. But at the same time, they also had what they called the Abitur. We're talking about testing a lot and too much testing. They had an Abitur they started studying for when they were 13. If they didn't pass it at the end of their secondary education, they didn't go to college, they couldn't go to trade school. Talking about pressure. So if you're going to do this, what is the benefit? If it's just additional compensation for teachers, that's not enough benefit for the taxpayer. But if it has demonstrably better academic results, then I think it'll pass.
Sounds like everybody here wants more information. So let's move on to teacher surveys. Again, they did this in 2013. Again, they have a chance to the teachers, Knox County teachers, weigh in on what they're thinking about is going on in the school system, going on in the classroom. Do you think this survey, Courtney, is a good idea? And do you think it'll actually result in change?
Yes, the survey is a great idea. Teachers are on the front lines of education, and so taking their temperature and finding where they are consistently, and I'd like to see it from year to year, same questions, same kind of format, will be good overall for the education system in Knox County as a whole.
Now, I want to hear from a teacher and Dr. McIntyre about what they think about these surveys. Take a listen.
I think it's the opportunity. And it's the opportunity that really needs to be taken advantage of. A survey is there for you to be able to sit down, think, respond. And if you don't do so, you're at a loss.
I think we've made considerable progress in really listening to our educators and our staff, making sure that we're addressing some of their challenges and concerns, making sure they have the support and the resources and the tools they need to do their job effectively for children. And I think that doing another survey in this time frame will help us really see that.
Craig, do you think there will be changes from these surveys?
Well, as George remembers, when we worked at the city, we conducted what was called the annual budget survey. It was a survey of all the citizens of the city of Knoxville, a representative survey of the city of Knoxville, and it had a number of core questions that were asked year after year after year, so you could see what was going well, what wasn't going well, and ask a number of different questions as the need arise. So I think these surveys can generate influence policy. We made some changes in some of the policies that the city did based on the results of these surveys. Changed the hours of operation of some of the community rec centers so that they better fit the schedule of the people that were using them. So they can be very beneficial, and I think that it's something that should be done every year.
George, do you think it's actually going to be an accurate reflection and teachers will participate?
As long as it's scientifically created and doesn't become a gripe sheet, more information is always better.
Okay. And Governor Haslam